Hello，各位觀眾，大家好。Hello，Dickens 你好啊。
你好，
係啊，好開心啊！今日咧就同大家咧一齊咧即係傾下呢個咧溫哥華嘅列治文嘅問題嚇。咁啊，歡迎大家收睇咧《婉華時報》啦，好開心啊！咁喺我哋側邊咧已經有好多嘅朋友喺度啦。咁咧就好多謝各位嘅支持。咁啊嗱我亦都啦好希望咧如果大家特別喺我哋加拿大住嘅朋友，或者係溫哥華住嘅朋友，甚至係列治文朋友啦。如果對於我哋今次呢度嘅即係我哋嘅地區一啲嘅譬如罪案率啊，或者有啲嘅即係問題，或者係最近先發生嘅，或者係發現咗嘅，都可以同我哋分享嘅。因為咧，我哋今次呢個嘅節目咧，係想同大家咧，即係分享下咧，即係其實而家究竟我哋嘅溫哥華特別列治文，我哋嘅生活係咪安全咧？究竟發生咗啲咩事咧？個原因喺邊度咧？但係究竟有冇辦法去解決，或者係可以改善咧？其實我哋所有嘅嘢都可以改善嘅喎，就係靠我哋嘅一分力。
啱。
我哋多啲嘅參與，多啲嘅支持，同埋多啲了解咧，咁就肯定咧係會得到我哋應該有嘅結果嘅。如果我哋乜嘢都唔做就弊啦，係咪？所以我哋不能夠坐視不理。我哋喺呢度咧就認識多啲。咁啊，我哋請阿 Dickens 咧，佢係一位爸爸啦，佢自己都有4個小朋友㗎。睇佢唔出年青有為啊，多仔公啊嚇，多仔公。
中意小朋友冇辦法。
好中意小朋友，同埋咧佢自己係土生土長喺加拿大生活啦。咁特別咧，佢喺列治文都住咗好多年啦，喺度長大、讀書、做嘢，係咪？而家就 raise 小朋友，係啦，咁好開心嘅。咁哇，咁我哋咧就其實喺我哋而家下邊咧，我發現咗有好多朋友入咗嚟喎。咁啊，我見到有啲咧係即係對於我哋今次嘅 supportive house 咧係有啲意見嘅嚇。咁啊嗱，我首先好快就講一講啦。咁就係我哋呢個嘅列治文啦。其實我哋一直咧我諗Dickens 都好有同感啊。張海仁張海仁中文名容易記啲。咁咧就係我哋一直住喺一個非常之安寧嘅社區，
真係
互相幫助，所有嘅居民都好友善啦。就無論係乜嘢國籍嘅人咧，唔知點解佢哋嚟得耐住咗一段時間之後咧，就會融入咗呢邊嗰個生活，同埋咧會係即係連嗰個 behaviour，即係嗰個生活嘅習慣啊，或者係都係 nice 咗嘅，即係好靜啊，或者係好關顧人哋嘅感受啊，即係好有公德心啊咁樣嘅嚇。大家互相問候啊，或者揸車大家會讓啊，或者大家有時行路咧即係面撞面咁唔識嘅喎，都會打個招呼啊咁樣。咁啊好安全嚇，我哋又冇咩偷車，又冇話 break in 咁樣，即係好多嘢都係好愉快嘅。咁但係咧，好似近呢幾年咧，我哋嘅治安真係好令人擔心。係啦，咁啊，其實阿 Dick 其實有咩，即係你都係感覺到係咪同我感受嘅一樣？
係啊，我覺得就係最近，我覺得應該係大概7年到啦，7年到大概就覺得好似點解有啲嘢唔同咁樣嘅，已經好似多咗啲即係啲人食毒品啊咁樣。其實當時都冇乜點關注嘅，但係就發覺原來係因為喺Anderson Road 度其實起咗一棟Stories 啦。係129個 unit 嘅，咁入邊亦都有50幾個 unit 係嗰啲 supportive housing 嚟嘅，咁其實喺嗰度開始先嘅。
I see。
中佢亦都有大概50個 unit 度啦，都係俾啲低收入同老人家嘅。咁佢就 mix 埋喺一個 building 入邊，咁佢又覺得咁樣 package 會比較靚啲，就冇乜人會反對，咁就做咗呢樣嘢，咁就開始有好多啲 break in 啊。啲人用毒品啊咁樣，成個風氣唔同咗啦，已經變咗。
即係我哋2017年嘅時候
，17年尾起好嘅，
幾好，就喺我哋咧都係好市中心嘅，
好市中就喺嗰個City Hall 度嘅斜對面啫嘛。
係 City Hall 係啦，咁咧就唔單止嘅，仲有一個就喺 Alderbridge 嘅，
係啦 ，Alderbridge 2019年就起好，就佢係第一個 TMH。咁嗰時其實都好熱烈咁反對好多市民，但係都冇用，都係照起。
係 TMH 嘅意思咧，即係話係一個嘅臨時嘅
係啦
叫做
，temporary
supportive
modular
housing。
housing 就佢臨時冚嘅，佢好簡單啫，佢嗰個
嗯嗯
structure
嗯嗯，
係啦，隨時
係啦。
可以好快拆到嘅可以。
佢初初嘅同我哋講咧，就講得非常之漂亮，同咧喺溫哥華市裏邊，即係起嗰啲咁樣嘅所謂嘅 supportive house 咧，講嘅説話係一模一樣。但係收尾點解我哋踢爆咗佢係講大話咧？因為佢當初喺溫哥華起呢啲嘅所謂嘅支援性房屋咧，咁佢都係一樣咁講嘅，話俾一啲嘅即係需要即係 support 嘅人去住啊。但係其實咧，你睇下佢裏邊嗰個即係細嘅文字咧，其實佢主要係收納一啲露宿者，同埋咧其實咧佢係會收納一啲咧精神有問題，即係嘅精神健康係有問題嘅人，
係啦，不能自理嗰啲人咯，
不能自理嘅人嚇，佢就會收納晒喺呢個嘅所謂嘅支援性房屋入邊。咁初初咧冇人知噶嘛，喺溫哥華就係咁起呢啲屋，結果咧好慘。我哋亦都睇到好多嘅新聞喺溫哥華嗰邊咧，又係鬧市嘅當中咧，有好多嘅搶劫、爆竊、偷車之類啦嚇，令到咧好多嘅罪案發生啦。而嗰啲嘅商戶咧，亦都用咗使咗好多唔知幾多10萬。去為咗咧就係修補嗰啲窗啦，因為佢用石頭掟爛啦，或者去火燒啊，甚至係佢哋用咗好多錢咧，唔單止維修，仲要係請保安啦，咁令到咧溫哥華嗰個市容係非常之混亂啦，同埋唔安全，好多針筒啦，好多人喺個街度大小二便啦，
係啊。
令到途人啊，甚至係居民啊，甚至做生意人非常之驚。咁啊唔單止啦，其實睇翻佢哋當初咧 BC Housing 點樣去講形容呢個 supportive house 咧，係好健康嘅，係大家咧應該要有個愛心同去接受呢個嘅房屋支援房屋。點解？因為我哋俾佢嘅講法就係有晒保安啦，又有晒reception 啦，同埋咧唔會俾佢哋出到嚟噶啦，有晒 fencing 嘅，即係有晒 fencing 咁樣。佢講到咧係一個冇乜，即係唔會有咩對社區有影響。但係咧，自從佢哋建築咗呢啲嘅即係支援房屋咧，肯定已經係完全唔同晒，全個區嘅形象，哇！變晒，所以話咧，佢哋 BC Housing 咧係不停喺度講大話。
係啊，
如果我哋仲相信佢呢一套喺我哋列治文起一個永久性嘅呢一方面嘅 supportive housing， 即係支援性房屋咧，係肯定係一個鑄成大錯嘅決定啊！
係因為永久性就係佢嗰啲暫時性佢可以拆啦，係咪先？即係佢係諗住拆嘅。2027佢個 lease 完咗之後，佢諗住拆噶啦。
係。
咁個 lease 完咗，你諗下嗰啲人住喺嗰度啲人，咁住邊度啊？
係冇錯。
咁好當然就搬去新嗰度啦，係咪？永久性嘅，佢永久同我哋嘅社區去融入咁樣。係啦。聽起嚟就好似好好聽，係好似好有大愛咁樣，但係其實對呢啲人嚟講咧，佢哋係需要嘅咧係一啲治療啊。唔係擺佢哋喺度啊，係咪？冇
錯，所以我哋今次咧，我哋因為唐人街係一個非常之好嘅例子，就係當年可能大家嘅移民啦、中國人啊、華人啦嚇，佢哋唔係咁認識英文，又或者好相信當時嘅政府，佢哋嘅説話，以為同而家講嘅一模一樣，唔使驚，我哋唔會俾佢哋亂咁走噶，我哋唔會我哋有晒醫護人員噶。有晒保安㗎，我哋完全係安全㗎，淨係困咗佢哋喺入邊嘅咋，出唔到嚟㗎。你諗下，如果一個 supportive housing，佢會話俾你聽，佢哋唔會咁容易出到嚟。佢會話俾你聽，會有好多 fence， 好多圍攔住佢哋。佢話佢哋會鼓勵佢哋唔好出去。你聽到呢啲嘅説話，你驚唔驚？呢啲就係佢哋而家 supportive housing 會做嘅設施，即係話佢哋係諗住呢啲人係唔可以出嚟嘅，一出嚟就會出事嘅。但係佢喺就係我哋華人社區嘅一個生活，即係好集中嘅地方，一個購物好集中嘅地方，飲食好集中嘅地方。你諗下，我哋點可以接受？
係咯，
係咪？所以今次咧，我哋揾 Dickens 啫，點解張海人佢會即係肯同我哋分享？因為佢本身就係睇住呢個變化，而呢樣嘢咧，大家所有加拿大任何人，唔單止華人，都係要認識我哋今次嘅問題。而個問題嘅源頭喺邊度咧？其實我哋可以即係慢慢由講翻我哋今年嘅2月嘅13號、14號嘅時候，我哋發生咗一件好 amazing 嘅事，就係我哋所有不論係華人、任何嘅國籍嘅人都集結起嚟，過千人去到 City Hall 度咧，就去反對一件事，就係話反對喺我哋嘅列治文醫院嘅隔離，甚至係同一個地區起一間嘅安全注射屋。我諗呢件事好大嘅新聞嚇，大家都有
識用字眼喎，叫安全注射屋，其實一啲都唔安全啊。
冇錯。
即係佢哋就用啲扭曲啲字眼去令到我哋覺得嗰樣嘢係好嘅。其實佢話嗰啲毒品係安全嘅 supply，其實你諗下毒品點會安全啊？
冇錯。仲有咧，以我自己係一個普通嘅市民，我都有機會去到急症室嘅，但係每一次我去到急症室，我以前去急症室係非常之安寧，真係需要即係急救嘅人先至需要去嘅啫。但係我而家見到嘅咧係好多嘅衣衫襤褸，有臭味，唔沖涼，企都企唔直，講嘢講唔到，牙都冇晒。連即係冇一件衫係正正經經嘅衫，嗰啲咁樣嘅人喺晒個急症室入邊。同埋我住咗咁多年啦，21年我住咗喺度，我真係最近呢1-2年，我係不停聽到救護車嘅聲。
係啊，
好多，真係好多。我哋呢啲社區好寧靜，係咪？但係佢係不停有一啲嘅救護車啊咁樣。同埋我見到喺我哋嘅公共嘅設施、公共嘅譬如巴士站、天車站，都隨時會有1-2個或者幾個呢啲咁嘅接埋人喺度，搞到咧嗰啲學生所有人都四散，唔敢喺嗰度等巴士。呢個就係我哋而家列治文我見到嘅情況。
係咯，我覺得就係佢哋自從引入嗰啲人入嚟我哋嗰個社區，其實我覺得咧好多嗰啲人咧係喺溫哥華嗰邊過嚟嘅，即係原先佢哋唔係列治文嘅居民嚟嘅，係佢哋見到話你哋起咁多呢啲咁好嘅設施，咁嗰邊可能又要等，咁唔等啦，我哋又有 SkyTrain， 我哋搭過嚟咯，我哋過嚟跟住可以用你啲設施，咁就變咗係呢度嘅居民啦，即係變咗 Richmond 嘅 homeless 啦。係
冇錯。
以前大概15年嗰段時間，佢好似 homeless， 我哋得40零50個，而家有好似有140個、150個，總之係多咗好多嘅，係多幾倍嘅啲 homeless。咁啲 homeless 係邊度嚟嘅咧？佢咪搬咗過嚟咯？喺溫東。係，
其實咧不嬲，我哋列治文都係一啲華人嘅社區，比較多聚居，華人亦都好多都係移民。係咪移得民過嚟嘅？大家都好勤奮、好勤力。小朋友咧，佢哋即係都好俾心機讀書，而父母亦都好 care 佢哋嘅小朋友。因為好多華人咧，你知啦，亞洲人都係嘅，甚至你話其他亞洲嘅人士嚟到呢邊咧，都係培養小朋友讀書，自己亦都好勤力去揾份工做。所以咧喺華人甚至亞洲人聚居嘅 Richmond 咧，基本上佢哋係好少暴力，亦都好少唔會話因為飲醉隨街會見到人飲醉酒啊，甚至係嗰啲食毒品更加唔可能，因為我哋根本我哋嗰邊嗰個你知道，我哋亞洲嗰個懲罰呢方面毒品係非常之重，
唔可以掂㗎，掂都唔掂，諗都唔好諗啊！
諗你都唔好諗啊，隨時死刑啦、終身監禁啊咁樣嘅。所以我哋咧一直咧，我哋對於毒品呢樣嘢真係敬而遠之。所以你話我哋住咗咁多年咧，基本上列治文係唔會有呢啲事發生嘅。係都唔係我哋嘅人類，即係唔係我哋嘅人種啊？係啊，係一啲唔知咩嘅人種就入咗嚟，所以係好難。而家見到好多咧，嗰啲都唔係我哋亞洲人士嚟嘅。就算你話而家喺個街度流離浪蕩嗰啲嚇，係
一個華人都唔會有咯。基本上我未見過啦，起碼。
所以係咪匪夷所思啊？佢仲要不斷要喺列治文，係不斷要起 呢啲咁樣嘅所謂嘅支援房屋。佢仲要咧，我係嬲乜嘢咧？我睇翻譬如Malcolm Brody 呢一個嘅市長，佢仲講話唔係呢個房屋咧係 BC Housing 佢哋嘅 project 嚟嘅嚇，佢哋咧係主要俾一啲係有需要住房嘅人，特別係佢都講嘅，特別係 homeless，佢都比較坦白，佢都話咧係俾一啲嘅露宿者住嘅，不過嗰啲咧係我哋係需要照顧佢哋嘅。即係等佢哋有個即係居所，但係咧 BC Housing 咧就比較多大話，佢就話唔單止淨係俾佢哋啲 homeless 㗎，我哋仲有好多其他嘅人㗎咁。但係好老實講啦，老人家我都講啦，上次老人家要入老人院，因為老人家佢哋住嘅地方個設施咧唔係一般就咁好似清水樓咁，有個廚房嚇，有個廁所。咁就係俾你可以生活㗎，係咪？即係如果真係老人家嘅話，佢哋需要好多嘅 support 嘅，係咪？唔係咁簡單，所以我覺得佢哋講嘢咧係好多語言藝術喺度。係啦，咁啊，同埋咧，我哋而家呢邊咧，不過全個加拿大都開始多嘅。我哋呢邊列治文都係好多即係好似車偷車啦，甚至 break in 啦，無論係車方面啦咁。其實你覺得個源頭嗱，而家我哋點解會無端端喺我哋呢個城市，明明都冇獨有冇道友，又冇露宿者，但係點解係咁起呢啲屋？起完呢啲屋之後咧，就變成我哋好多露宿者同埋好多癮君子咯喎。好啦，咁因為我哋多啦，咁又要再起多啲啦。成件事係邊一個喺度去策劃呢件事嘅咧？其實
我覺得佢哋係分散咯，因為你原先所有嗰啲導遊啊，即係有啲吸毒者啊、精神病嗰啲咧，佢哋喺晒溫東嗰邊嘅，即係絕大部分喺晒嗰邊嘅。咁而家你見到其實佢哋 curriculum 有起啦，佢哋喺好多唔同嘅嗰啲 city 都有起啲咁樣嘅 support housing， 或者就算 temporary modular housing。咁其實佢哋將嗰啲即係導遊係分散晒喺大灣地區好多唔同嘅區。咁我覺得點解會咁樣做咧？咁其中一個原因，咁我 I cannot be 100% sure， 但係我覺得因為嚟緊佢喺溫哥華要舉行 FIFA 啊嘛，咁其實佢都要執執市容係啦，個市容佢想執一執，就唔想人哋影到哇咁多導遊嘅，
係冇錯，
咁就收埋呢度收埋嗰度，咁啊 Richmond 你就收啲啦，Coquitlam 你就收啲啦，咁樣，咁咪好睇啲咯，係咪先？
嗱，我哋其實咧而家所有我哋一定要話俾我哋嘅所有嘅居民聽，因為咧你唔好覺得呢件事唔關你事，我哋係會盡力盡我哋嘅能力講得到嘅就講幾多，同埋會話俾大家聽，其實而家嘅 policy 係乜嘢係政黨去做緊嘅。嗱，我冇話佢啱與唔啱，大家自己用眼睛用思考去判斷。譬如而家咁多呢啲嘅 policy 係邊一個係乜嘢人去擬定嘅？甚至我哋而家嘅市政府點解會唔經過諮詢？因為最可笑就係馬保定嘅一個 City of Richmond 嘅 Council， 佢竟然話：今次我哋呢個諮詢咧，我哋草率咗，我哋唔記得咗，疏忽咗。佢話佢用疏忽呢個字。即係話佢哋唔做得唔好，冇諮詢，佢話係佢哋嘅疏忽，竟然唔諮詢民意係可以嘅疏忽，而佢哋呢個政府其實係民意選出嚟，佢哋竟然話我哋唔記得咗或者做得唔夠好，係我哋嘅疏忽啊，個民意我哋冇問，因為我哋冇聽過有啲乜嘢嘅聲音民意去諮詢過呢一個嘅 temporary。唔係呢個係永久啊，係 permanent 啊 ，sorry 係 permanent 嘅 supportive housing， 所以我覺得係非常之詫異，同埋佢哋而家亦都幫呢個 BC Housing 喺度即係解話，但係 BC Housing 嘅大話咧已經唔會有人相信，因為佢喺 Vancouver 講嘅説話完全係違背晒嘅，所以我哋真係每一個市民如果聽到呢個節目，真係要清楚我哋講嘅嘢，跟住自己再做多啲嘅 research， 唔好淨係靠我哋講，自己亦都要即係擘大隻眼 去睇多啲資料，或者去聽多啲人嘅意見，因為呢樣嘢係蔓延緊啊。因為我哋之前咧係 stop 咗我哋 Richmond 嗰個 consumption site 嗰個安全住宅屋咧，咁跟住原來喺 Montreal 都係發生緊呢件事，但大家都起嚟又係反對，所以咧如果我哋先做咗出嚟，就會係一個 model 同埋一個嘅力量，可以蔓延到去其他地方。海人，其實我哋身邊有朋友入嚟，我想
係咩？
你會唔會 ready 啊
？OK，冇問題。
我見到咧有Sheldon 喎。
Sheldon 入嚟啊？
同埋我見到有 Jordan。
OK。
係嘛？咁不如阿 Jordan 你等一陣間，我哋俾阿 Sheldon 入嚟講幾句好嘛？好嘛？咁嗱，佢會講英文嘅喎。咁阿 Sheldon 咧就係佢係好喺安全住成屋嗰方面啦，即係個 consumption site 啦，同埋今次嘅 supportive housing 咧，佢都落咗好多力嘅。同埋上次咧落咗好多力，係咪？
好多力。
係啦，同埋上一次咧喺我哋嘅 Canby 同埋 Sesmith 呢一個 supportive house 個 Raleigh 咧，佢都係有做咗好多嘢嘅。所以我哋今日不如我哋咁啱，我哋見到佢入咗嚟，好開心。咁不如我哋揾阿 Sheldon 傾兩句好嘛
？OK。
好啊。Hi Sheldon, how are you?
Hello.
Hi Sheldon.
Nice meeting you.
Sorry.
Do you hear us? Oh, the Wi-Fi is not that good, right?
Sorry, Red.
Is your Wi-Fi okay? Because yeah.
Connection.
I think the connection is not that good, but I still can hear you. Hi, Sheldon. Do you hear me?
Hello. Now I hear.
us?
Yes, there was a bit of a connection.
Okay, I think it's good now.
Pardon?
Hi.
Yes.
Here we are, and Dickens is here. And also, thank you so much for organizing all those rally for us to let us know what is going on in the cities. And so 我哋有啲咩可以想問阿 Sheldon 啊？其實 Dickens 你可以都同我哋傾下偈。
Yeah. Sheldon, maybe you can share a little bit about your experience with the Templar modular housing, how the crime has increased in your area ever since they put that up. Just maybe some examples of what you see on the ground, because you live right beside one, basically, right?
Oh, you're living at the Elderbridge area.
Yes, I live on the Westminster facing, but the building just across from the Alderbridge temporary modular home.
Oh, okay. So what you have seen lately, like at your area?
Well,
what do you see?
Before it went up, there was like maybe the strata president recalls only having 2 problems in the previous 10 years. So when it went up around 2019. And then within the first year, and then throughout COVID until now, there's been more and more homeless transient people who've moved in there who have drug addictions. And
do you know where are they from? They are all homelessness. I don't see any homelessness before in Richmond, though.
Yes.
Where are they from?
I can't say where specifically they come from. I know a similar site in Kamloops went up a number of years ago. And when they built the one in Kamloops, they wanted to build additional beds. And so I can't remember if there was like 100, 150. I don't know the number exactly. But Kamloops built more than 100% beds for their community, saying, we have extra in case if we run out of space. But all of a sudden, there was an influx of homeless people into Kamloops. And then very soon after, they had so many homeless people there that they did not have enough beds for them, even though they needed more.
I see. So you believe that the inland people, they came from the Kamloops, like more northern part of the BC.
So yeah, I don't know where the people from the Kamloops came. Some of them probably came from Alberta, some of them from the north, from elsewhere. But if you build it, they will always find more people to come.
Right.
And this housing is almost like warehousing, that there's people with drug addictions, there's people with problems, and they just want to put them in the housing, but they don't actually want to address the root causes of their problems. They need help, they need treatment, but They don't want to build more treatment centers. They don't want to build more rehab or detox centers. They talk about the Portuguese model, but the Portuguese model uses 4 pillars approach, which is prevention. So prevention includes like education,
Yeah.
enforcement, so that
Mhm.
they do penalize if you're caught using public drugs, and you can be arrested. So enforcement. Uh,
Mhm.
Harm reduction is used to an extent that they'll give you the drugs initially, but then they
Mhm.
slowly pull you off of it
Right.
till
Uh-huh.
treatment. And that's when they completely pull you off of the drugs.
Mhm.
And when that happens, they will keep them under secure, I guess, hold them securely until they
Mhm.
can recover from their drug addiction. And so they are forced to go rehab in Portugal. And I think that's what we need here. But yeah, there is no resources in that that's being poured into that.
Did they do all the 4 pillars so far? I don't see it.
No, it's mostly been one pillar, harm reduction, and all the people that have led the way for harm reduction,
Mhm.
including like Dr. Perry Kindle. He was BC's chief medical health officer before Dr. Bonnie Henry. When
Mhm.
he left, he created can't remember if it's a nonprofit or a private company called Fair Pharma, which then secures heroin for people who have drug addictions to provide them with safe supply of drugs, um, in the hopes that they can get off of fentanyl and use heroin, because
Mhm.
heroin is less worse than fentanyl. But I mean, heroin is still a very powerful damaging drug in itself. So
Right.
you have these doctors and these deputy health ministers who started these programs. They left the BC government, and then they've opened their own companies, their own nonprofits, and now
Mhm.
they're getting lots of money from the provincial government to operate these programs. Um, and I do wonder if there's any transparency, accountability, or ethics. If you're a politician and you leave it, you cannot go and become a lobbyist for like 5 to 10 years after you're a politician. So these doctors or health officers should not be leaving their government jobs and then going and creating companies
Mhm.
for programs they just set up when they're in government. That seems corrupt. It seems unethical, but there's no
Mhm.
rules against it right now.
Mhm.
So
No.
it's up to our provincial leaders, our federal leaders, to actually make rules so that the people who create these policies are not going to create companies and then enrich themselves off of these policies.
Wow,
Mm.
I can't believe that. That's
Yeah, I
Uh,
can't believe it.
that's crazy. So chief health officers, they create policy, and then they leave office, and then they set up a company to profit from those policies to sell drugs.
This is corruption.
Yeah, in your
or
face
it's at
corruption.
the very least, it's unethical. It's not corruption because
Not
there is
yeah, well,
there's no
yeah,
laws.
sorry. Yeah, maybe
There's,
not
so
ethical. Yeah. Mhm.
Canada doesn't have a lot of laws about these things. Like if this were Singapore, these people would be in jail.
That's true.
And people can have criticisms of Singapore, Hong Kong, China, but there's a lot of countries that will put people in jail if they're doing this. But there's no laws. So at the best, I can say it's unethical that this shouldn't be happening. And it's not just for harm reduction. I mean, you have Health Canada doctors and government workers who also own multiple businesses, and it's like, how can they work for Health Canada or BC Ministry of Health, but they can also own multiple businesses that are also getting government contracts, or practicing areas of medicine around this? But that's a whole other issue. But to this extent, harm reduction has been a big cash cow, and these people are making a lot of money,
Mhm.
and there's no focus on the other 3 pillars, and so we've lost sight of that. And that's why we have the free drugs going out to modular homes, to SROs, to permanent supportive housing. Um, there there is I just say it's an unmitigated disaster. And I think Dr. Julian Summers was right when he said there needs to be a full public inquiry into
Right.
all of this, how this all happened, what are the root causes of this, all the unethical things that are going on, and there needs to be more accountability. But that's up to us to vote for that. With these, I'll kind of briefly go back to SCS and go back to TMH. So yeah, they put this TMH here in Richmond. More drug addicts were going there. They were getting safe supply, free drugs. Sometimes they take the safe supply, they sell it back to their drug dealers. So
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yes.
They get more powerful. They get more powerful drugs, and then the drug dealers take the government provided drugs and they either divert them to high school students or they ship them out of the country because they can sell them for more money in other countries. And so the BC government is inadvertently supplying drug cartels with free, cheap drugs so that they can sell it elsewhere for more money. And that's led to a lot of the problems in this neighborhood. And so when we went to City Hall to complain about this, about the effects of this, the city councilors wouldn't listen to us. They admitted that not enough had been done, but because of this crisis, they needed to continue with these policies to house these people first. Cash Heat, Laura Galanders had their motion going forward to have a supervised consumption site in the hospital. And so when we saw that, we realized, well, they can't control the TMH, and they've broken promises on the TMH, like it's only supposed to be temporary for 5 years. Well, they broke that. They extended it for 3 more years. Some councillors like Carol Day, Laura Galanders want to extend it, keep it in perpetuity. But we saw with that the failures of it, that they cannot control it, the drug use. And when we saw it being proposed for the hospital, well, we knew that with the hospital, it's going to bring in more homeless drug users. It doesn't solve the problem of people using drugs at home, because the people using drugs at home are not going to use drugs in a government building. They're recreational drug users. They're trying to party with their friends. We don't like that. We try to encourage parents not to allow their children to do that, but it is impossible to stop it 100%. That's going to happen, unfortunately. But building sites like this is not going to help. We need to do more education with children to show that these drugs today are more powerful than they were in the past, and that one pill could kill you. But yeah, the SCS, if the city can't control the temporary modular house, we believe that the city cannot control the supervised consumption site.
You know what? I don't see really the education is doing at our school board. No, because I've talked to one of the principal of the secondary school, and he doesn't really tell me what about drugs, like what is the policy or a way, what way to teach the students. They don't have a clue. And also I talked to my son, and he said there's a lot of drugs things going on every school.
Yeah, and I went to a school.
Bad. It's very bad.
I went to a school board meeting, and I found that, I do know that one school trustee, Alice Wong, has been trying to focus more on drug education with her and Chalk Al. But I have had some concerns because one of the school trustees, the former school board chair, Debbie Tablotny, has been showing up at city council to support safe supply. And I felt that if she's supporting safe supply, we know that safe supply is being diverted. The people who are getting the drugs are selling it to drug dealers for more powerful drugs. And then the drug dealers either ship it out or they sell it to high school students. And Sam Cooper, the reporter, he did some reports through the Bureau, his own website, where he found that in Nanaimo, those diverted drugs were being sold to high school students, and they're calling them dillies. These are hydromorphone pills. And the students, they were asking them that if you know heroin is bad, and they do know heroin is bad, they don't want to do heroin, but they don't realize that hydromorphone is just a pill. It's a pill version of heroin, so it's kind of the same. And so they didn't realize that when they were told, well, you know, those dillies are hydromorphone are the same as heroin. The students were a bit surprised because they thought, well, these pills are coming from pharmacies, so pills are safe because adults take pills, where it's not needles or stuff like that. And it's just it's going to children, and there's been a lot of problems. Teenage, high school, middle school students getting addicted to drugs, overdosing on drugs. And Nanaimo has been the worst city in BC for young students doing the drugs.
So they're
Right.
creating more users,
Yeah, do
basically.
you remember the case in Victoria? Remember one of the student, like the girl? I believe her parents, one like the mom is a doctor, and she got overdosed at a party.
Mhm.
And you remember that thing happening always, maybe in the dormitory too. So it's very scary.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, the student at UVic, she didn't think that she was going to overdose on these drugs. They weren't expecting them to be laced with fentanyl, and the diverted drugs are getting tainted in the process. I talked to a RCMP officer who was saying they busted one at the end of last year, and they found thousands of diverted pills, hydromorphone pills, and some of them had tainted with fentanyl. And the gang member, they found out the girlfriend was also a support worker at one of these harm reduction sites in Vancouver. So these sites, when they go up, also attract organized crime, because if you're a drug dealer selling drugs, all of your customers are going to be housed in these sites.
Mm.
And Adam Zevo has done a lot of reporting on Ontario with all the organized crime that's been going on with supervised consumption sites and overdose prevention sites, as well as other housing sites where they've been housing homeless drug users. So lots of evidence of crime and organized crime involved.
我想問下阿 Dickens 同埋Sheldon 啦，即係其實 BC Housing，我覺得佢有啲誤導，
佢係
即係
好強嘅
誤導我哋。
目的性啦，絕對係佢想快啲搞掂咗佢，想起咗佢，一起咗你冇嘢講噶啦嘛，因為起咗佢唔可以拆噶嘛。
係，
其實就係不切一切，不顧一切。
因為呢個係已經係一個 permanent 嘅 supportive house。係啦，Sheldon, I think BC Housing has told something not real. Like I can't say they are lying, but they are saying that this is sort of look like a low income housing, or letting those maybe disabled or elderly to move in. But this is totally not true, right?
So there's a lot of language surrounding this, and that's something they like to do. I've been in talks with the people in Vancouver with the Kitsilano Coalition that are opposed to a permanent supportive housing being put somewhere in the Arbutus area of Vancouver. And that one's 13 stories, I believe, with more than 100 units. So that one's bigger. And they didn't find out until they did a subpoena in court to get the memorandum of understanding, so MOU, between the city and BC Housing. And then they found out that like the medical facility in there would be like a consumption site for drug use. And that, there's going to be people who are drug users going in there. But when they say elderly, well, there can be elderly people who are also drug users. There can be single women who are drug users. It's low barrier housing, but they don't want to be upfront. And so we're kind of getting a smoke and mirror game where they'll try to say, oh, it's for low income. Well, all these drug users, they might be getting welfare. And so they would technically be low income. All of these fields that they're saying can be actually very true, while also still being transient or homeless drug users. So I don't exactly trust BC Housing. They want to get these sites built, but then when they're built and then the problems start happening, they just wash their hands and say, not our problem.
Right.
Call the police.
It's happening in Vancouver too. They promise a lot of things, but then end up nothing like as you know, it's doing like reverse. Everything is reverse, so it's not everybody. They are druggies
Yeah.
living there.
Yeah, and well, not every person. There are some like homeless people who are not drug users. There are some homeless people who have mental health issues. But when you mix them all together, the ones who are drug users can be very violent, very threatening, and that they can actually even maybe rub off and make the ones that are not drug users become drug users. So it's a bad environment. If you're a recovered addict and you're around other people using drugs, the temptation is there. And so it's not good for homeless people who've gotten clean to be in that environment. We need to separate those people. And so with Richmond, with the we're calling it Canby Permanent Housing, CPH, we decided that before this goes to council, if it goes to council, by then probably all the councillors would say, oh, it's too late, we're going ahead with this. So that's why me and other organizers who oppose the SCS, who opposed the TMH, or at least the TMH extension, we thought if we go ahead with this, we need to stop this from happening early, because if we wait, it will be too late. But now they're changing their words and playing games, saying you're lying about this and that, but they're backtracking, and we see them changing what their descriptors are for everything. So, and that's because of all the pressure of the community. So I do want to thank you, Anita, and other people for like stepping up and speaking out, giving platforms for people in the community to share their voices to others.
So we're also looking for a solution or what we can do as a resident in Richmond, especially, also in Vancouver, everywhere. Anybody Canadian, they should voice out. So we need to tell them the truth and also what is going on, and how do we change the situation? But Dickens, here is Jordan. 不如我俾埋 Jordan 入嚟，佢等咗好耐，好嘛？ So yeah, Jordan is here. Hi, Jordan.
Hello， 睇唔睇到我啊？
睇到啊。Jordan 啊，你好啊，我哋都係啱啱第一次嘅見面嚇，歡迎你入嚟同我哋傾偈。係啦，咁不如你又講下你自己嘅對於今次呢個 supportive housing 有咩嘅睇法啦？
其實 supportive housing 呢樣嘢咧，我唔係想主要講呢樣嘢嘅，我係想講其他啲topic 咧，就係咧華人咧對政治嘅理解啦。咁樣而家咧個主流咧就係咧 BC 保守黨咧就係反對晒 drugs 呢樣嘢，但係咧我都想表達下咧 BC 保守黨咧呢個政黨同埋聯邦政黨咧，首先係兩個唔同嘅政黨嚟嘅，好多人以為係同一個政黨，但係當然唔係啦。BC 保守黨咧佢哋個紀律啊，佢哋嘅organisation 啊，就混亂好多啦。首先混亂好多，同埋第二咧就係咧 BC 保守黨咧佢做咗一個好大錯誤啦，就係咧邀請咗屈傑冰入政黨啦。咁屈傑冰呢個人咩問題咧？屈傑冰咧佢入去 BC 保守黨咧，記住屈傑冰咧佢係沒有保守主義嘅理念過。佢因為咧入去 BC 保守黨嗰度啦。係因為佢就知道自己喺 BCU 嗰度咧係贏唔到，所以走入去 BC 保守黨嗰度啦。
嗱 Jordan， 我哋咧今日咧主要咧我多謝你嘅聲音嚇，咁但係咧因為我哋呢度今次咧係討論我哋嘅即係列治文甚至乎溫哥華嗰個罪案率啦，我哋點可以令到安全一啲？我都明白嘅，即係冇一個好嘅政黨，冇一個好嘅理念嘅政黨咧，係好難去帶領我哋，所以我哋其實亦都係有一個信息就係話，希望咧大家咧真係豎起隻耳仔，擘大隻眼睇下咧，而家所有嘅政黨嘅政綱理念點解咧？因為我哋10月咧就會有一個選舉，就係一個省選，係啦，係啊一個嘅provincial 嘅一個嘅選舉 election 嚇，咁咧就係去投票我哋嘅省嘅代表嚇。究竟我哋嘅省嘅決策係好緊要嘅，即係佢哋會經常同聯邦去合作，咁就決定即係我哋而家嚇，好似例如呢啲安全注射屋啊，甚至係 supportive house 啊、supportive housing 呢啲所有嘅決策咧，都係同我哋嘅省政府係好有關係。係啦，所以咧我哋今次咧除咗話要關注到我哋嗰個 即係嗰個 crime 啊，即係罪案啊嚇，點解會咁多嘅？突然間多咗嘅嗱，其實我哋華人不嬲都係非常之即係我講真嘅係乖嘅，甚至咧我哋嘅罪案咧都唔係少，但係問題咧就係、我哋啲罪案比較都係多啲爆竊啊、搏下車嘅啫，未去到 violence 嘅。但係我哋一單都嫌多。如果真係將來去到有啲 mental health 嘅人喺我哋嘅社區嗰度中間嘅話，拎把刀出嚟，我哋真係好驚嘅。所以我哋就而家就好擔心咧，呢個所謂佢哋 BC Housing 講嘅 supportive housing， 佢話係安全，其實因為喺溫哥華已經係俾好多 example 你睇咗咧，完全唔安全。甚至我哋最近有個新聞就係講 Grenfell Street 嗰度有好多嘅罪案，嗰啲罪案多到咧係嗰啲冇人做到生意，個個都俾好多錢出去去請保安啦，甚至去維修翻啲損爛咗、損毀咗嘅嘢啊咁樣。咁你問下啲居民又點會安居樂業咧？但係我哋一定有個 root cause 係咪？所以我哋而家就係大家去首先去知道個問題喺邊，跟住我就揾出個原因，跟住我哋咧就去對症下藥咯。所以今日咧，我哋就大家去話俾大家聽，係啦。咁其實嗱John Jordan， 你本身你自己係咪住喺列治文啊？
我係嘅，其實咧我係嘅。
係，咁你會覺得咧其實而家列治文嗰個你喺你身邊嘅生活有冇影響？係咪多咗好多一啲古靈精怪嘅人啊，又多咗罪案啊咁樣？
當然係啦。咁樣 Dickens 咧就之前講過咧，因為 FIFA 2026年，所以咧政府咧就要將啲露宿者嘅問題咧，唔
係100% sure， 但係有可能。
咁樣我有另外一個懷疑咧，就係咧，因為咧之前咧近2年前、1年前啦，阿 Ken Sim 咧佢就要 clean up 個 Chinatown 啦，clean up 個down East Side 啦。咁樣啲人咧都你啲所謂 clean up， 但係啲人咧都要咧走去第度嘅。咁樣咧有可能咧就呢啲人咧就有啲咧可能咧走咗 Coquitlam 嗰度，有去 Surrey、Burnaby 又有，跟住有啲走咗 Richmond。咁樣我又唔知呢啲人咧係咪同一班人嚟嘅。
係我明白嘅。而家咧其實我哋一陣間咧，我哋仲有阿 Sherpas 喺度喎。我哋見到佢喺下邊喎，咁不如我哋又請埋佢入嚟，又傾下偈好嘛？好熱鬧啊！睇下而家所有唔同嘅人，佢哋 concern 啲乜嘢咧？嗱，頭先阿 Jordan 就 concern 一啲政黨啦，政黨裏邊混亂喎，咁點咧？咁我哋要點樣正視佢咧？或者政黨裏邊係咪自己要處理翻一啲事咧？因為仲有唔係好多時間嘅啫喎，咁其實各有各嘅政黨都有自己嘅政綱開始出嚟啦嚇。咁啊，究竟我哋可以點樣做咧？咁好啦，我哋而家有 Sherpas 你好啊
Hello
你好。
Hello everyone。
我哋有Sheldon 啦，有 Dickens 啦，Dickens 又係住咗好多年啦喺 Richmond， 仲有 Jordan 又係我哋嘅列治文嘅居民啦，包括我自己啦。
係 Sheldon。
你係咪啊？
我住 Coquitlam， 跟住我住 Burnaby 嘅，其實係。
咦，咁都好歡迎你喎！你可以同我哋分享下你其他地方嘅問題啊。
係啊，其實我好細個嚟嗰陣時，其實唐人街雖然有啲醉酒佬，但係其實都算安全嘅。咁但係而家就變成咁啦。咁我其實I can read something for Sheldon. Maybe he knows that as well.
So, yeah, you can speak in English.
Yeah, so I don't want to bore him, but so there was a research I did for McKinsey, is the consulting firm that advocate for drugs, safe drugs, and then you get backfired by in the state. So it's in the state. So they have to pay a settlement to District of Columbia, DC, $600 million. I'm telling this because, 我講返中文啦，因為其實我覺得其實好多好似 Sheldon 咁講，其實佢講嗰樣嘢係好多 consultant 話，即係呢啲咁嘅 safe supply 係安全嘅。咁其實呢個係好大問題咯，因為即係講笑個政府嚟講，佢係咪可能覺得有啲咁嘅多啲服務出嚟，咁佢就可以有多啲名義創造多啲職位，咁就我哋又要俾多啲稅咧？即係佢哋個邏輯係，即係我發覺佢哋個邏輯係好似係咁樣諗，所以呢個係 好大問題，但係要即係毒品帶出嚟嘅嘢就變咗好多治安上嘅問題啦。你頭先講，因為以前downtown都係unseen會有啲咁嘅情況，即係1月嗰陣時有個人無端端有架寶馬跟住攔咗出嚟，跟住就嘭嘭嘭咁樣，跟住有啲人係啊，跟住有啲人喺個 shop 嗰度無端端揾個打火機放火，係啊，即係 London Drugs 喺 downtown 都話我都唔嗰間 London Drugs 係做咗喺度可能。maybe 100 years， 佢話我都唔喺 downtown 開鋪咧，因為我都唔知點算，係所以
downtown is miserable. Sheldon, what are you saying about?
Yeah.
Which downtown?
Downtown. London Drugs said I will close out the store. Yeah, Vancouver downtown. Like I will close out the store, and all the. Like 10 years ago, you hear it from the news, all the shooting is, all the gangs in Surrey, but it's out everywhere. Like I live in Coquitlam for the last 10 years. There like every neighborhood block, there has been some kind of shooting. Like even my girl went into her dance class, and then it was beside a pub, and then the glass, like the glass that at her classroom got a bullet hole on it, and it was
my goodness.
Everyone. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, and they're like, but what can we do? Right next to where I live. So,
yeah, that's a good point. I think there's two sets of negative impacts, and one of the sets of negative impacts is the organized crime around it, the drug groups that are making so much money with these drugs. Vancouver is the worst city in the world. I was at a seminar, and Dr. Kevin Sabet, a former policy advisor to President Bush and President Obama on drugs, he was saying that Canada is now the leading country for this drug epidemic that's going on, and that
manufacturing.
No, not manufacturing. No, just for the people who are using the drugs. People addicted and deaths. So drug users, deaths, and Vancouver is leading like 70, more than 50%, probably like 60, 70% of the drug issue in Canada driving these statistics is here in Vancouver, just because of all the policies that have been put into place. But the organized crimes, they're making a lot of money, and they know that the police can arrest them, take their drugs, and then they'll be released the next day because of Trudeau's cap and release.
Yeah. We you know what, Sheldon? We can drop our British Columbia. We just call ourselves Columbia, maybe.
It's Columbia 2.0.
2.0.
Yeah.
And probably Columbia.
Sorry. Once Vancouver is the best living, city in the world. And my audience said it's a lie.
The problem is the government still advocate and advertise it's the best city in the world because they just want to manipulate the data and ignore all these facts. But they always want to promote themselves as the best city. That's the hypocrite.
It is, and it was.
Now Richmond is the best city in the Lower Mainland of things.
The Lower Mainland, I suppose.
Yeah.
Richmond is the best city, and we haven't been affected too much by the gangs and the shootings, and it still happens. But the negative impacts that we have felt just from the few years these sites have been in were the TMH, were the drug users. They've been trespassing onto private property, breaking into condos, breaking into hotels and other businesses, stealing mail, breaking into cars, smashing glass, opening doors, a lot of issues with insurance costs, replacement costs. Some of them are not stealing, some of them are just breaking in to do their drugs, but that also causes an issue of sanitation and public safety as well, because some of them have accidentally started fires in like the Executive Hotel. They were in the hallway, they had an open flame, it fell onto the floor, and there was a fire. The manager there had to put it out. So there is a many problem with this. Sometimes residents have to deal with drug users high on drugs, yelling at their children. One of my neighbors had someone spit on as they were pushing their child in a stroller. People smoking fentanyl out of doorways. It's very unsafe. And we just want the city to acknowledge this and do more. And because of that, because they haven't been listening and they've been ignoring us and denying it, we started collecting evidence. And we have 5 years of evidence of video. Some of the neighbors in the area started a YouTube and Instagram channel called Neighbors of Richmond. So you can see their Instagram, you can see their YouTube. That's like video footage from buildings, hotels, businesses, from residents, just documenting this. And even still, City Council wants to ignore it. It got played, and they shut it off. Malcolm Brody stopped.
Malcolm Brody, he said, "Oh, just for somebody like homeless."
I have a question. I have a question for you know the housing minister is the MLA from North Delta, Rafi Kalon. Well, I wonder if he wants one of those housing in his ridings, right? It's like, if I see him, meet him, I'll ask him, do you want something like that in your backyard? That's the problem.
Yeah, make him the NIMBY, right?
Yeah. They never wanted. And Councillor Carol Day here in Richmond, we have video of her saying this. She said, if they're sleeping on your benches, remove your benches. If they're breaking into your common doorways and hallways, invest in better locks. And I said,
something wrong.
Carol, you voted for this. It's imposed crime and problems, and we have to pay for the consequences of your decision. That's not right. And so, I've seen what the TMH has done, and I'm worried that when this permanent housing goes in, these problems are going to be even bigger, because that's just 40 units. This is going to be 90, so more than double the current 2 in Richmond. And there's no plan to mitigate it. They promise they're going to do something about it. I don't believe they're going to do anything.
No, don't believe.
And so,
and also, you know what? In Richmond News, Cash Heat, he said those opposition, those people who opposed, they are nuts. And
no, he said they're disgusting. But do you know what I find disgusting? The other day, I was in an alley behind my place, and there was a discarded safe supply bottle right behind my place of amphetamine, like some not quite crystal meth, but something similar to that. That's a prescription version. Okay. It was right behind my building with a broken crack pipe. And so when Kashi calls us disgusting, I say, no, all these used drugs scattered and broken in our neighborhood, that is disgusting. That is unsanitary.
Yes.
It's a bile.
Absolutely.
The policies are making our city disgusting.
針筒啊，周圍都係 like the needles everywhere，同埋嗰啲 urine everywhere， right?
It's now more
everywhere. Wow, 真係 at night time especially. You will
less
see
needles
and also the bicycle. Like
有啲醫護人員咧，前線嗰啲醫護人員咧，譬如佢哋係媽媽嚟嘅，咁醫生都同佢講你唔可以即係 breastfeed 啦，因為你個 circulation 入邊好多啲 drugs. I'm telling them that their frontline mom that were nurse and they were told not able to breastfeeding because her system is with all those drugs. That's because they are exposing to those environment.
Less needles now. More of them are using pipes because it's fentanyl, it's smoke. And the smoke is actually more powerful than the needles.
Oh, is that right? I thought it's only needles. Like smoke?
There's smoke, fentanyl's being smoked. And so that's why if they're sitting outside smoking fentanyl, and let's say you're walking out with your kids and you inhale it, that could cause an overdose for someone that's not used to fentanyl. So it's fentanyl smoke is more dangerous because at least the needle is just going in them, but the smoke is going in everyone around. So when you see people smoking fentanyl on buses, that's very troubling.
Dickens 有啲咩説話講嘅 ？Dickens 你都要講翻兩句。
即係我覺得到最後咧，我哋其實都要係我哋自己做啲嘢啦。雖然我哋見到好似咁多嘢都好似控制唔到，點解 City Council 會一路唔理我哋講嘢，會一路去推行呢啲？
佢唔單止唔理啊，佢係將佢幫手去包裝啊，粉飾佢啊，
包裝個 busy housing 咯。咁其實 我哋要做嘢就係我哋真係要出嚟投票咯，係咪先？我哋投票，佢哋先可以會轉，即係而家執政嗰個 NDP 啦。咁基本上而家啲華人個都好憎 NDP 噶啦。
其實咧，我想講咧，其實阿 Jordan 講得好啱。其實我哋華人唔係咁清楚，究竟而家執政嘅係咩黨，或者係而家即係其實係乜嘢一回事咯。其實我哋嘅執政黨而家嘅就係個 David Abbey 咧，佢就係
NDP 係我哋嘅省長，跟住就係 BC 嘅 NDP 咯。
係啦，咁而
聯邦就係 Liberals 咯，即係
聯邦就係 Liberals 啊，呢個杜魯多就係 Liberals
係啦。係啦，
咁而家咧就因為咧喺10月咧就有個省選㗎，咁即係話咧而家個省就好支持呢啲咁樣嘅所謂嘅安全注射屋啊、支援性房屋啊，或者係即係鼓勵大家啊，即係4處方案咧，嗰個對毒品嘅4處方案咧就做咗一樣啫，我就見唔到好似 Sheldon 講嘅就 4 pillars 啊，
冇啊，完全 one pillar 嘅啫，佢哋係一隻，應該一張4隻腳㗎嘛，佢一隻腳㗎咋。
第一隻腳就係 harm reduction 咯
，harm reduction 咯，因為最揾錢啊嘛，最
俾藥咯，係咁俾藥啊，起安全注射屋俾藥，但係嗰啲 education 啊、rehab 啊嗰啲 only one right， 淨係做咗一樣，嗰啲 rehab 啊，即係嗰啲治療啊、教育啊嚇嗰啲就全部咧我就睇唔到啦。
完全冇做㗎，就算你有 Richmond 咁保守嘅一個城市，其實你會諗到。哇！咁多即係 immigrant 啦，應該係啲學校入邊係好多即係嗰啲drug education program，但係我哋 Richmond 一半學校都冇嘅。
我睇唔到，我有問過佢哋冇話俾我聽，佢哋冇 strategy， 冇呢個嘅 education policy about drug。我有問過佢哋。
Cash 先生佢係以前係西灣嗰個 police chief 嚟㗎嘛，佢直情 cancel 咗個 DARE program 喺 West Vancouver 嗰度，佢冇用嘅，嘥錢嘅。係啊，
我哋都好彩㗎啦，因為3個禮拜之前你 check 翻新聞咧，我哋嘅 Bonnie Henry 咧，佢 propose 話 no prescription in convenience store for safe supply drugs。I was telling people， 如果咁樣嘅話，啲小朋友放咗學唔係去飲思樂冰，我哋去飲冰毒啊，
真係救命啊！
係啊，
真係救命！
呢啲人係精神有問題嘅，即係諗埋啲咁樣嘅政策咧。所以其實我哋真係要唔單止而家省選之前要出聲，我哋投票嗰日就要出聲，就要話俾佢聽，我哋係唔想你執政嘅。
冇錯，
而我哋已經唔接受你啲咁荒謬嘅政策啦。無論你喺市方面、省方面同埋聯邦方面，我哋都要踢走呢啲咁樣嘅人。
同埋佢哋咧唔單止佢哋嗱政黨就當然佢哋即係唔知點解會咁樣啦，甚至係其實醫生都係咁諗嘅喎。Like last time the doctor who represent the coastal health, she said, taking drug is their right, is their freedom, is freedom. Like the druggie has the right to take drug.
係啦，但係佢哋就永遠淨係 focus on 嗰啲用毒品犯罪嗰啲人嘅 rights。但係我哋啲受影響嘅市民咧，我哋啲係好努力嘅奉公守法嘅市民，我哋就冇 right 嘅。基本上，我哋要附和佢哋去做佢哋啲嘢，因為佢哋可憐嘅，我哋就唔可憐嘅咁樣，即係就咁樣嘅意思咯。
係啦，我覺得係咪啊 Sheldon who protect our right? We are even, right? Equal. 但係點解我哋冇 right 㗎？佢哋反而有 right， 佢哋影響我哋，我哋就冇辦法出聲啦。And then 佢哋 lie， 我哋又要俾佢 lie， 所以我哋一定要清楚。
李宇話其實好簡單嘅，因為咧政府咧佢哋咧又搏你唔出聲咋，所以咧佢哋見到你咧咁弱咧又蝦你嘅，咁樣政府會唔會蝦啲印度人咧？唔會啊嘛，因為佢哋知道印度人咧，佢哋會團結起來咧反對你哋噶嘛。
係，
所以
同埋咧。
華人要真係要大聲啲咯，因為佢就係幫我哋即係比較溫和啊，我哋即係都係好少，即係我哋盡量，你知我哋中國人唔中意搞事噶嘛，係咪先？係
啊，
中意和和平平咁樣去，喂大家飲下茶出嚟，唔好搞咁多事啦。
得啊，人善被人欺啊！我發覺而家真係，我本來都覺得應該做人善良啲，be nice，OK？
我哋係要善良，但係因為我哋要保護我哋啲小朋友同我哋啲。
Yes，
保護唔到自己嘅人啊！
我哋點解要行出嚟？就係因為我哋仲有下一代啊！我哋唔係淨係為我哋自己啊！我唔想第二，我哋唔知去邊啊！第日如果係咁，我哋就可以周圍去啦。我哋年紀大，佢哋細個咧，佢哋需要前途啊，將來 future，一個好嘅 environment to live。
同埋而家真係掂咗毒品就翻唔到轉頭。
係啊，
呢樣嘢唔係一個人掂毒品嘅問題。如果係呢個社區係容許呢樣嘢嘅話，仲要去幫俾派 drug 咧，係一個直情係一個 community 嘅問題，係成個國家嘅問題。冇人會做嘢噶啦，個個都走去吸毒噶啦，個個都係 easy life 啊。
跟住而家嗰啲毒品仲要係入埋啲學校賣俾中學生，咁樣諗下下一代根本係面臨緊乜嘢嘅 crisis 啊
？Yeah, Sheldon, we have to fight, right? We have to fight. 係咪啊 Dickens?
We have to.
一定要。
Yeah, I know you were saying that drug users seem like they have more rights than us. Yeah. I think to find the truth in this, we have to follow the money. It's the drug users are just they're allowing other people to profit off of this. Yeah. And you need to root out the corruption. You need more oversight of government, of all the people who've created these policies. But I say follow the money and look to the people who've made these decisions. But yeah, who's going to protect the everyday person, the working person, the families, the children? If our governments won't do it, then voters need to inform themselves and look very hardly at the people running for member of parliament, at the people running for member of legislative assembly, for the people running for city council and school board. It's very important to understand what the policies of every candidate is so that we can vote for people who will try to kind of bring more common sense, to focus on education, to focus on families, making our communities safer, making a better society for our children. And You're so right. maybe that starts at the ballot box. And in addition, maybe there needs to be an independent inquiry into all the people that have started these policies and just to figure out what's going on, where all the money's going. Yeah. And despite these policies trying to save lives, more and more people are dying from drug overdoses more than ever. So they're not solving the problem, but we're spending more money, and they're asking us to spend more money to solve the problem. But if the problem's not being solved, why are we spending so much money? There's a question there, and it's worth investigating, and it's worth supporting people who want to investigate that and do something. But at least here in Richmond, we have an opportunity to try to keep Richmond safe and protect normal families, protect normal working people, and protect the children.
係，我哋聽嘅唔係我哋而家講嘅唔係淨係 Richmond， 係成個我哋嘅 BC 省，甚至我哋成個加拿大都係，我哋係可以改變呢個 situation 嘅，係就係大家唔好匿埋，大家要出一分力。好似今次我哋喺呢一個嘅 supportive housing 啦，我哋仲有機會，仲有一個 hearing 喺個市政廳 City of Richmond，we can voice out。我哋可以去到嗰度。我哋
今次要多啲人出嚟咯，因為雖然嗰次 CPH 個 rally 都有幾百個人，但係比我想象中少咯。即係其實呢件事係咁大件事嘅話，其實應該要好似上次市政府差唔多有1000人出嚟，係唔知要2000人，佢哋真係要知道我哋係唔會接受呢啲咁荒謬嘅嘢嘅。因為佢一旦起咗呢個就冇，真係冇噶啦。你呢個係 permanent 㗎，要記住。
冇錯 ，permanent 㗎，唔係臨時㗎。頭先阿 Sheldon 都講啦，佢臨時已經有延遲，又 extend 嗰個TSH 啊 ，extend and extend again，right？But this one now is permanent， 喺正我哋平時生活、購物、飲食嘅一個華人嘅圈子入邊，我哋仲有機會，我哋仲可以出聲嘅。咁同埋我都啱阿 Jordan 其實都講咗好好嘅，就係而家我哋要選啦，投票啦。咁我哋要真係望清楚大家個政綱，同埋如果啲政黨自己內部嘅嘢，希望佢哋快啲，令到我哋嘅市民有信心嚇點樣去投票，乜嘢都好，或者我哋要睇翻邊一個人係個人有能力嘅， 嚇，你就投佢哋一票。即係呢個係嚟緊㗎啦，10月就已經係投票日啦，所以大家開始要關心多啲。
多啲人要出嚟投票，因為上次2020年咧，其實我哋有160萬人係冇出嚟投票嘅，我哋 BC 得500幾萬人嘅啫嘛，跟住我哋可以投票嘅係將近大概300幾萬人嘅啫嘛，咁所以差唔多有一半嘅人其實係冇出嚟投票嘅。
我想提一提咧，Burnaby 其中一位 MLA 又係新民主黨嘅，叫安康禮。其實佢係個部長包城鎮事務，所以呢啲事情其實佢都係有關係嘅，佢都唔可以就甩佢嘅。係叫安康禮，其實佢係台灣人 ，Ancan， 大家記得啦。
係啦，佢係新民主黨嘅 MLA 嚟嘅。
因為佢係 about municipality 嘅 policy， 所以 she needs to be accountable as well。
係。
係啦，咁記住呢啲名咯，即係呢啲人而家暫時係即係執行呢啲政策嘅人，我哋要記住晒佢啲名。
同埋喺列治文咧，有2間 TMH 咧 ，Outerbridge 同埋 Bridgeport 嘅。咁樣當呢2間嘅 TMH 起嗰陣咧，邊個咧係大家知唔知道邊個係 Bridgeport 嘅 MLA 咧？係屈傑冰啊！所以屈傑冰咧，佢咧喺嗰陣時咧係乜嘢都冇反對過，乜嘢都冇做過，冇發聲過。咁樣而家咧就用保守黨嘅包裝嚟到咧要你投佢。咁樣我覺得呢個女人咧係真係好難咧支持佢咯。
明白。
嗱，我哋咧就冇立場嘅呢個節目，不過咧我亦歡迎大家去講自己嘅心聲出嚟，因為我哋需要發聲，我哋需要多啲嘅聲音，等大家可以互相影響、互相支持，同埋知道多啲，自己分析係咪？所以我都歡迎你哋嘅意見，或者提醒亦都可以，係咪？
多啲 involve 咯，同埋唔好政治冷感咯，係咪先？因為其實政治，你話我唔想掂政治，但係政治會揾到你㗎，因為政治係會影響我哋生活每一樣嘢嘅，每一個角落嘅，所以我哋一定要係即係關心啲政治。
我都補充一下，其實大家要 understand 我哋個點解會 cast， 即係由源頭開始。其實我嘅理解係，我哋17年將呢個毒品非刑事化之後，因為大家要知道我哋嘅刑法 criminal code 加拿大係 unify 嘅，即係我哋所有省個刑法刑事法啦，都係一樣一致，因為係聯邦去控制呢樣嘢。所以有時候譬如警察按翻個法例執行，但係佢都要按翻個刑法嚟講，係去到追本溯源咧。呢個 criminal code decriminalize 咗 drugs 係本身就係呢個，即係一開始就搞到咁多問題出嚟嘅。其實，但係
省咧個執行咧係喺嗰個 decision 喺省嗰度嘅，係即係個 law 咧個法律就係加拿大聯邦政府去管啦 criminal code， 但係執行，譬如你話嗰個法官，我決唔決定去即係佢入監，即係放開佢，呢啲 condition 係佢哋決定噶嘛。咁如果嗰個政黨佢係會 tough on crime 嘅話，即係我講省啊，咁佢嗰啲 judge 佢會俾 instruction 佢，叫佢唔好咁容易就放人走。
所以早一排咧，其實佢哋有討論過話點解，即係比較深奧啲，即係 deep 啲嘅問題啦，就係嗰個 non-withstanding cause 嘅問題，就係話你有一啲 right 就暫時就因為要顧及大家嘅公眾利益，我哋有一啲佢哋嘅權益或者佢哋嘅自由，我哋就要放下。其實係有咁嘅討論嘅，係啊。
我哋就可以用啦。其實如果嗰個省長係願意，佢亦都有智慧嘅話咧，佢係可以咁樣做嘅。係啦，咁就可以保護到廣大市民嘅利益咯。你諗下，邊有可能即係我嗰個而家溫哥華嗰邊嗰啲犯罪案咧，佢話有6300個 incident 啊 ，OK？ 咁呢6300個 incident 係40個人犯嘅咋。
Oh my goodness！
即係你係同樣40個係輪流咁樣去犯罪，犯完又放出嚟，犯完又放出嚟。跟住佢有個喺溫哥華，佢有個19歲嘅學生行下街，跟住無端俾條友咁卜佢頭。 搏到而家佢係又翻唔到工又翻唔到學啦，因為成日都暈，有 concussion 啊嘛。咁呢個人其實係已經係佢係俾人搏嘅，好似係第11個嘅已經係。
即係拉咗佢又放翻佢。
拉咗佢係第11次噶啦，即係佢呢啲叫做 random assault。random assault 佢係犯完罪，跟住又再放佢出嚟，再俾佢入去就犯。咁係好危險咯，變到社區係同樣40個人喎，6000幾單案喎，咁你話係咪好可笑咧？咁其實個省係有咁樣嘅 power 可以去執行嘅，即係雖然佢唔可以反加拿大聯邦個 criminal code， 但係嗰啲法官 ultimately 係有一個決定權，我究竟要用咩 condition， 俾咩 condition 你，我同學我要俾你重啲嘅 sentence 咁樣。
係。所以我哋咧，除咗要睇黨嘅政綱咧，仲要睇每一個嘅個人。有好多時咧，以前俾我哋好多即係候選人咧，有啲俾我哋一啲唔好嘅印象。好多時咧，候選人都好有自己嘅私心嘅，可能有好多背景喺後邊，所以佢要出嚟要出名或者要做啲 connection 咁樣。但係所以我哋咧唔好怕睇多啲，留意多啲候選人，睇下佢哋本人每一個人嗰個政綱嘅理念係點樣。同埋有好多人又好特別，可能係空降嘅咁樣，好奇怪，佢都唔了解嗰個社區，係咪？所以有啲人咧，大家真係要明白，真係要喺度住，喺度真係了解呢度。好似我 for example Cash Heat 咁樣啦，佢由西灣跟住運 Vancouver 一路咁對後跌咗落嚟 Richmond， 唔知之後佢會唔會再去南啲？
佢就成日話自己，佢成日話自己 Richmond 住，我唔知啦嚇，即係佢講噶啦嚇。
佢嘅 history 佢唔係咯，因為佢由 West Van 開始一路，跟住就變咗 Vancouver， 一路南下，去到2022年，佢選 Council 啦 ，Richmond Council 嚇，佢就話自己住喺 Richmond 啦，咁好得意嘅，即係佢喺 Richmond 已經冇乜 background 嘅，即係我嘅意思係你每一個人你選嘅時候，真係我哋講真啦，佢哋嗰啲種族咧，梗係支持翻自己種族嘅，
係啊，
但係我哋咧就都要了解多啲我哋自己，即係其實我覺得華人出嚟選已經唔係多㗎，仲要真係有心、有力、有經驗、有 passion 嘅人就更加少啦，係咪？即係所以大家
係咯，唔好聽佢哋講乜，你要睇佢哋做乜。
Yes，
講嘢係冇成本嘅，
係啦，
可以吹嘅啫嘛。你吹到幾大咧？好似 BC 口成日一路咁吹，到最後佢哋做咗啲咩咧？我覺
得佢哋包裝
係咯，
語言藝術
係啦，
其實係已經咗我哋㗎啦喺 Vancouver。So Sheldon solution we have to talk about like how to do it better like our city. So what everyone should do.
我唔講住啦，我
OK，多謝晒你啊 ，Sharpers， 多謝 Sharpers， 多謝呀。係啦，我最後就講 solution， 我哋有咩 what we can do for the community, for the city?
Well, the most immediate solution right now is to, I guess, go to our website, stopcph.ca, to sign the petition that we have on our website against the CPH. If you have anyone who are friends, neighbors, family, or you know any businesses in Richmond, encourage them to sign the petition. If you know any business owners, encourage them to reach out to stopcph.ca, because we have a business petition that is going around that last I checked should have over 500 businesses signed. We are trying to put pressure on City Council, and in September we will go and speak at City Council, and then when the agenda items come up, we will encourage more people to come out and sign up and speak at the committee meeting and at the regular council meeting against this. We need to keep people involved. They can also sign up to join our email list on the stopcph.ca website, and we will send out regular email updates to everyone, especially if they live here, about what the next steps are. So we have to take this step by step. So we have to push back against the city and hope that they will not zone this land for this. But we also have to keep an eye on the provincial election, because the provincial government can stop this site. they can go back to the drawing board and say, okay, we need to come up with a better plan. I think we need to listen to experts like Dr. Julian Summers. The NDP government forced him to delete his 20 years of research that started with the rise of the Insight 20 years ago, because his research was inconvenient. It showed things that were very likely counter to what they were trying to do, to what they wanted to do. So they deleted it. So they accuse residents like me who've seen this and are concerned of fear-mongering, of spreading propaganda. They will delete the facts they don't like so that they can push their own ideological agenda. So this is an ideological agenda from the NDP, from the Liberals. And so if their MLAs and MPs refuse to listen to people, then people need to look at the other candidates and maybe vote them out. And so, yeah, we need to put pressure on the David Eby government in BC and also pressure on the city, because both of them can stop it in different ways. We also need to put pressure on the federal government so that we elect MPs who will stop the catch and release, will strengthen criminal laws so that criminals go to jail, and also maybe stop this public drug use from happening, because it's destroying neighborhoods here. And so the only way we can do it is if everyone joins together and we fight this together. So together we can stop this. But yeah, I see the website in the corner down there, www. It's actually just go stopcph.ca.
How do you see? Sorry, stop.
So it's stop, stopcph.ca. So don't even need to put www. That's stopcph.ca. And like going there, we can stop this together.
所以stop CPH.ca， 所以其實咧，我哋今次要做到好似上次2月咁樣咯，咁大陣仗啊！即係我哋唔可以好似即係上啱8月嗰次係真係幾百個人嘅啫，唔係好夠。500個人係啦，500個人係就唔係好夠咯。咁我哋其實要今次我哋 present 呢啲簽名，因為我哋嗰啲團隊咧義工團隊啊 ，Sheldon 同我同好多其他嘅義工一齊有去啲 business 度攞咗幾百個簽名噶啦，啲 business。咁我哋會 present 呢樣嘢俾 City Council 話，我哋有咁多個 business 都係唔同意你做呢樣嘢嘅。咁我哋做呢樣嘢嘅同時咧，係希望有幾千個華人圍住個 City Hall，等佢哋知道我哋係唔會接受呢啲咁樣嘅嘢嘅。俾壓力。
冇錯，係好。咁我哋最後有冇咩補充啊 ？Jordan， 係啊，你有冇啲最後有咩講？我哋可以再傾嘅。我哋唔會係得一次嘅機會，我哋會再多啲機會同 Sheldon 同當然係同 Dickens 啦、張可人一齊再傾嘅。係啦 ，Jordan 有咩講啊？
咁樣簡單嚟講咧，咁樣呢個散選咧，實係2024年10月19號咧，就要我就建議投 BC 保守黨啦。咁樣當然啦 ，BC 保守黨都有佢哋個問題啦。咁樣呢樣嘢我唔會喺呢度討論啦，都幾複雜下啦。咁樣，因為上次喺4月15號嗰陣係維 City Hall 嗰次成功嗰陣咧，其實咧我哋咧就都好彩嘅。好彩咧就係因為咧敵人咧就犯咗一好大個錯誤啦，就係有個白人女人咧就喺度叫我哋一個白人香港嘅將呢件事炒起咗啦。如果唔係呢件事發生嘅話咧，咁樣咧呢件事就不了了之，就通過。你知唔知
嗰個人係衝埋嚟鬧我先嘅本來？有個英雄就係嗰位叔叔，佢就見到我俾人鬧，咁佢就走埋嚟擋住我，就鬧翻佢咁樣。
我叔叔係臨出嚟㗎，
係聽過係 Dickens 嘅 friend 嗰啲朋友嚟喎。
Anyway 係咯，嗱我哋咧都要補充啦，我哋冇話特別一個即係幫邊個政黨，不過我都係覺得就係最緊要佢哋嘅理念嚇。individuals 嘅我哋都係好歡迎，最緊要佢係為我哋嘅社區出力，即係有心，好似 Sheldon，thank you so much for your help and organization everything. Yeah, you did a lot for the community. Yeah, and thank you so much.
I want to thank you also so much for speaking out and coming to the SCS rally back in February, for attending the rally against this permanent housing, and also just giving everyone a platform to share, especially when government leaders don't want people to share this. They don't want people to organize. They just want to sweep this under the rug and make it go away. It's a big fight because there's entrenched interests here, and we have to stop that to make our communities safe. We have to step up. In the last municipal election, I ran with Councillor Chalk Al and the Richmond Community Coalition. We said that we promised that we would oppose an injection site. At the time, injections were more prevalent than inhalation, but we opposed the injection site, and other candidates said, that's completely ridiculous. We are not going to do that. Well, it turns out they did do that, and now everyone is seeing who they are, and so we can learn. We can learn not to re-elect people who deny it during the election, and then once they're in, they will push it. And so we know from the city councillors who denied it and then voted for it, the same thing can happen with our provincial government, the NDP. They'll deny that it's going into Richmond, they'll get elected, and then they'll push it into Richmond. So we can't let politicians off the hook. We have to fight against them. We have to join together. So that's why, I hope people go to stopcph.ca, sign up for the email list. We'll update with next steps, how to keep people involved. And hopefully in the provincial election, we'll get ethical, principled people who are against this. And I want to help elect people who will be against this. And in the federal election next year, we're going to have to do more to look at who the federal candidates are. And I'll just throw it out there that many people have suggested that I should run, and I have given it some thought, and I will be contesting a federal nomination in Richmond Centre Marpole. So I hope I can earn the trust of people here to support me in fighting the Trudeau agenda on like the catch and release. And then we'll also have to prepare for the municipal election 2 years from now too. It's 3 levels of government. All of them are involved in this, and it will take a lot of involvement, a lot of scrutiny to hold our government officials accountable for their actions and for their voting record, and if they've lied to us as well. So it's not going to be an easy fight. It's just getting started, and it's going to take this year, next year, and the year after. And even then, it might not happen right away. So we just have to be prepared to fight against this.
Right.
People here in Richmond, we're reaching out to groups in Vancouver to work together on how all of our communities can work together. Richmond is the starting point where people said no to this, and people have seen that we can push back. So I'm hoping Richmond is a model for other cities around BC, Canada, and the US to look at us and say, hey, we can do that and we can stop it just like they did in Richmond. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sheldon。咁啊，最後咧就要同阿 Dickens 講啦。Dickens 咧，我認識 Dickens 咧，佢係真係一個好愛列治文，亦都好認同自己嘅身份，一個好 Canadian 嘅一個好心地好好嘅華人，亦都係好肯為社區出力嘅一個華人啦。咁啊，上一次 consumption site 佢都落咗好多力落去，所以我都好多謝 Dickens 嘅落力啊。同埋你真係好 pure， 係好純粹地真係去幫呢個社區，因為你係一個爸爸，因為你有4個小朋友，你希望佢哋將來有一個好嘅地方，所以我都好多謝。希望我都最後講就係，我哋所有嘅華人今次真係要同心合力，唔好有咁多互相嘅猜忌、猜疑，或者唔好聽嗰啲語言藝術，明白到我哋而家喺一個真係臨界點，嗰個地方已經係空咗出嚟嘅。嗰個 Cambie 同埋 Sesame 嗰個 location 咧，而家真係準備係起㗎啦。所以我哋一定要喺10月嘅時候，甚至而家開始簽呢個嘅 petition， 同埋知道多啲，聽下多啲，留意多啲我哋嘅選舉嘅情況，多啲了解下我哋政黨，多啲了解我哋嘅候選人。好冇啊？邊個係
係啦 ，Stop PCPH 嗰個團隊咧，佢會 announce 佢邊日會去 City Council， 我哋嗰日一定要出嚟啊
Yes， 係啦，
一定要出嚟啊！
一定要出嚟，同埋大家真係嘅，記住10月有嘅機會啦，我哋可以咧 bring them down。Take them down， 係咪？我哋可以攞佢哋 down 嘅，我哋可以做翻好嘅社區，我哋有咁嘅能力嘅，只要我哋團結。好啦，今日好多謝 Dickens 啊，好多謝 Sheldon，Thank you so much Sheldon， 好多謝 Jordan 同我哋一齊傾偈，你係我歡迎你係我哋嘅觀眾入咗嚟，好多謝。好啦 ，Thank you Sheldon，Thank you Dickens。Have a good night， 多謝各位嘅收睇，希望大家聽到嘅俾個 like 我啦 ，like，OK，好，我哋下次見。Thank you so much.
Have a good night, everyone.